Hi, I'm Ruggero from One Foot in the Door, and today I'm replying to another question from Luck and Boone. So, Luck and Boone, thank you very much for your question. Luck and Boone writes, my questions are limitless. That's okay, no problem. I will continue asking if you don't get bored of this. No problem, fire away. So, my question is, what type of acting or character should an actor play? Believable, realistic, interesting, or natural? I watched your video on believable versus interesting. That's an old video I made. You can find it in the description down below. But can we have some or any technique to put believability, naturalism, realism, and interest all together in our character? Also, tell me how to portray a character for the screen and audience. I mean, how to make the audience enjoy the character and go through the entire journey of the character. Okay, so this is a very interesting question. It is also a $1,000,000 question in a way, because creating an interesting character that can take the audience through an emotional journey is effectively what we all try to do with any character we play, any character we create, right? So I'm afraid there is no simple answer to this. There is no one size fits all type of technique. It will depend very much on the style of the production you're doing, the movie or the play or whatever. You're talking about screen specifically, so the genre of the movie, let's say, okay? And also, it's interesting how you put, believable, interesting, realistic, or natural. I don't think any of those are in contraposition, are one against the other. It's not like either you have a realistic character or you have an interesting one. Either you have a believable or a natural one. They're all together, it's not different. I think my point, especially in the other video about believable versus interesting, I think my point there, maybe you misunderstood a bit, maybe I wasn't clear enough on that. My point there was simply this. We shouldn't aim to just be believable, to just be natural. That's a baseline, that's a bare minimum. Of course you need to be real, of course you need to be natural, of course you need to be believable, realistic, okay? That goes, if you're not doing that right, you're not acting. You're not doing your job right. No matter what kind of genre you're doing, no matter what kind of production you're doing, if we look at you and we don't see a character, we see an actor acting, that's not it. You're not doing it right. The point that I was making in that video, and that I make again, I strongly believe this, is that naturalism is not enough. Being, again, natural, being realistic is not enough. I see so many actors who get obsessed with being natural, with being, realistic. Like that's the be-all and end-all most important thing. I don't think it is the most important thing. I think, as I said, it's a very important thing. It is the bare minimum. Again, if you're not real, if you're not natural, then what the hell are you doing? But that's just a start. You need to aim to create a character that is also very, very interesting. How do you do that? That's difficult, that's tricky, okay? Partially is not up to you, in the sense that, remember, the character is created by the writer. And then the story is told by the director. Again, we're talking about screen here. So all you can do is to do your best, scene by scene, take by take, to use what you're given and follow the director's directions to create this journey for your character and this journey for the audience, okay? So part of the, I would say, relax is not just your job, okay? So that means there is no one simple technique to do this, it depends. What you can do, what you should do, is analyze the journey of your character in the script throughout the whole movie. So figure out, who is this person? What does this person want? Where does this person begin? what are his or her flaws, and what changes throughout the course of the movie. And once you understand sort of structurally what the story is and what is required of this character, that will help you then figure out ways to show these different things as you go along. Again, I'm sorry I can't give you just one specific thing, because it will depend on any different project is different. So it will, it's not the same thing for everyone. There is one thing, however, which I do believe is very interesting, and I am covering that in my online screen acting course, which I'm preparing right now, guys. I will be launching it very soon. And it is about originality. It is about how to create a character that is interesting, that is not expected. You see, what happens most of the time when you have auditions, for example, and I've done this several times, both as an actor that go into auditions, but as a director, to being on the other side and seeing actor after actor after actor. And what you see pretty much all the time is actors who are all pretty good, all pretty solid, with exceptions. There's a couple that are terrible and a couple that are great, but the average is pretty good, but they all give the exact same interpretation, which is true, believable, realistic, can be touching, can be moving, whatever, but it's the same interpretation. It's the exact same thing. And it is the most obvious interpretation that you can give, given that script. Is the obvious one that everybody goes for. My recommendation is this: find a twist, figure out, okay, what is the most obvious way to play this character, and then play around with it. Try different things, try different approaches, try different emotions, try different objectives even. Figure out a way to play the character that is not expected. It still needs to fit the overall story arc, but don't do it in the obvious way, okay? That will make you stand out from the crowd in an audition, for example, and that might help you create a character that is interesting. So in a way, I think the key to playing an interesting character is to think laterally. So think outside the box. Figure out what is the most obvious way to play not just this character in general, but also this emotion, this scene, this interaction. What's the most obvious thing? How can I do it different? How can I do it more interesting? Obviously, then it needs to make sense, okay? Otherwise, you're just playing crazy characters all the time. No, it needs to make sense. But look at it first, step back from the character work, from the rest. Step back from this and look at it and say, how can I make this more fun, more interesting? How can I surprise people? Because ultimately, being surprised is the best thing that can happen to an audience. And if you manage to take a character that is a bit obvious, that everybody would play more or less in the same way, and you do something surprising with him, that's great. That stands out. That will make people remember you. I hope this helped. As I said, there's a ton to be said about this topic. So, like and Moon, I hope this helped you. And guys, let me know what you think. How would you play a character in a more interesting way? And do you think that, doing something believable and realistic and naturalistic, are those things in opposition sometimes? Let me know your thoughts, leave a comment down below. And if you have any questions or other topics you'd like me to talk about, again, leave a comment down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified about every time I post a new video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.